Welcome everyone to another video from the Old Texas Pilot. Today we're going to be talking about around the T20 pattern and the importance of pilot training as an ongoing process for proficiencies to be a better pilot. So sit back, hopefully enjoy it, and I hope that I cover items that are interest of people. The first episode will be a fast lapse, time-lapse video me flying my J-3 Cub around the pattern a couple of times, and then we'll slow it down and go over through the dynamics of the training process that a lot of pilots go through for pattern work. So I've started the plane. I'm adjusting my iPad. I use that iPad. I have a program on there we're going to talk about later. It's a huge in-depth program that covers a lot of good information for pilots. So anyway, that 46 Cub is now high tech with this iPad. So basically, we're taking off from T20 Gonzales. We took off runway 33, which is a right-hand pattern. If you notice, I'm making all right-hand turns and coming back to land. I'll backtrack down the runway here, back taxi, and turn around and take off again. Again, right patterns, right hand turns. There's a set procedure that's followed at all airports for uncontrolled airspace that all pilots know and follow, or should follow. All right, that was a whirlwind flight. Let's slow it down some. First of all, before we go into that, I use my Garmin Pilot on my iPad. It has many programs. It's extremely powerful for a pilot to use. First thing we need to know as a pilot is which airport we're at. We're at T20 Roger Dyer Field. Elevation is 354 feet. The pattern altitude is 1,354 feet, 1,000 feet above ground level. Best runway based upon winds will be from the 15, but this is an older one. 15 and 33 of the runways, 3,200 feet long, 50 feet wide. If you're using runway 33, right-hand traffic, as I mentioned earlier. Here's the layout from takeoff, departure, crosswind leg, downwind leg, base leg, and final. Those are all followed at every airport, except here at T20. This was 33 was a right-hand pattern instead of all lefts. Everything else is the same. All right, here we go. I'm lining up on runway 33. I'm getting my Piper Cub straight down the runway, so when I give it full power, I'll be tracking straight and not left or right of center line. So the key is I'm giving it full power now. You can see it ramping up. And then I let off and we're moving forward. I got the stick, I'm pushing the stick forward. As you can see, I'm pretty well straight down the runway. When I reach a certain speed on the Cub, I try to take off around, just barely get it off around 45, let it float above the runway and ground effect, and then once I get to about 60, I start pulling back and maintain 60 throughout my entire climb. Again, I can't see the runway below me, but I know based upon my iPad that I'm tracking pretty well straight down the runway. My iPad it's following me with an image, and it's showing me the pattern of my flight and the projected forward look as my pattern where I'm heading. So I'll fly up here. I'll continue to climb at 60. I'm trying to get to 1,000 feet above the airport, which is pattern altitude, 1,365 feet. So as I climb, go upwind, after takeoff, I'll begin turning right. That's called right crosswind. Still continuing the climb. airspeed is roughly 60. I think it's sitting right on 60 miles an hour. This Cub solo climbs a little over 500 feet a minute. So it takes me a couple of minutes to get to pattern altitude from liftoff. See a nice stock tank below. With all this rain, things are green and nice around here. Sky is blue. I'm on the right crosswind, trying to get a certain distance away from the airport, so when I turn right downwind, I will follow the a trajectory that will keep me parallel with the runway. And that's also I have to contend with crosswinds. Just like someone sailing a boat, the wind is constantly a factor when you're flying, and it will try to push you either closer to the runway or farther away, and you've got to keep making adjustments so that you stay a certain distance away. So I should be getting pretty close to what I think is roughly 1,365 feet. And once I do, I'll pull back the power. I'm right now at full power, about 2,800 RPMs. I'll pull it back to 2,200 RPMs. From that way, the engine is cools the engines down. We maintain about 75 miles an hour ground speed as we track across the ground. Depends on the headwinds or the winds aloft, your airspeed. In front of me is Gonzales, Texas. I believe the Walmart parking lot is just to my right. So I'll keep going downwind until I roughly 45 degrees to the end of the runway, and then I'll pull back the power. I'll try to sit up at 60 miles an hour. Once I establish a consistent airspeed, it's easier to control upon landing, not as many things you have to deal with. So I'll begin to back it down. I think I'm down to 2,000 RPMs roughly. Airspeeds get close to 60. I'm turning right base for runway 33 Gonzales. As I make these turns and enter these different legs, I'm also announcing it on the radio, my radio, to what we call Gonzales traffic. Any pilots in the area knows that I'm in the traffic pattern. I'm at a certain altitude, and I'm in a certain location. They can look for me. That's always important when you're flying at an uncontrolled airport. All right, now I'm turning final. There's no right final or left final. It's just final. I'm pulling back my power because I want my sink rate to be a certain amount, and that has to be estimated just by feel and by looking where you are. So my airspeed is at 60. My power has been pulled back. I'm sinking down, lining up on the runway. I gave it a little bit of power. I thought my sink rate was a little too fast. So I'll pull the power back again. Lined up on the runway. Floating down the runway with all the power pulled back. Trying to get to that magic 40 miles an hour. Boom. I've landed. So the plane settled in at 40 miles an hour and was a successful landing. That's always a good thing. We want to make sure we have successful landings after we have a successful takeoff. I made 6 landings on this particular day. 3 of them are really, really good. I have to admit, 3 had a bounce, but that's training. Hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed flying and sharing it with people who enjoy flying. So if you like this video, please like and share and subscribe. Thanks again for joining.